We turned to Earth for shelter. Humans gave us a home and protected it with warships. The cold darkness of space stretched endlessly around the small fleet of alien ships. Their hulls were scratched and scarred from battles they had fought to escape. Inside, the refugees moved quietly, their glowing eyes reflecting worry and fear. They had lost everything: homes, worlds, families. Their people, once proud and free, were now fugitives fleeing an empire that had crushed their civilizations one by one. The aliens did not know where to go. Many systems had already fallen, and rumors of human worlds reached them through secret networks. The humans, they heard, were different. They were strange creatures, fragile yet stubborn. The aliens were unsure if the humans would help them or simply turn them away. Still, they had no other choice. Their leader, a tall figure named Kale, gathered the envoys to discuss the plan. "We have only one chance," Kale said, his voice low but firm. "We go to the third planet of its star. The humans, perhaps they will help us. If they do not, we have nowhere else to run." Among the envoys were two who had the most experience in dealing with other species, Lyra and Joran. Lyra was calm, her skin pale and smooth, and her eyes could see infrared patterns. Joran was more cautious, often thinking through 100 possible outcomes before acting. Both understood the risks. Humans had never been contacted by their kind, and approaching them directly could trigger fear, violence, or both. The journey to Earth was long and tense. Every day, the fleet scanned for patrols of the Empire's warships. Every day, they prayed that their sensors did not pick up the deadly silhouettes of the enemy. Kale often stood on the bridge of the lead ship, staring at the blue dot that was growing slowly in the distance. It was strange to see a planet so alive, swirling with clouds and oceans, a world teeming with unknown life. As they neared the planet, the aliens noticed something odd. There were ships already in orbit, but they were not hostile. They were much smaller than the massive warships of the Empire, and their shapes were unfamiliar. Kale ordered the fleet to hold position. They sent a message in their own language, careful and coded, hoping that someone on the planet would understand. Back on Earth, Emma Brooks, a human scientist working for a small space liaison office, watched the blinking light on her monitor. She had been studying anomalies near the outer solar system for weeks. Suddenly, the signal changed. It was no longer random noise. It carried a pattern. Emma's heart raced. She called John Carter, a naval officer who had experience with foreign technology. "John, you need to see this," she said. It's intelligent." John came quickly, his uniform pressed, his face calm but curious. "Can you translate it?" he asked. "I'm trying," Emma replied. "It's complicated. The code is unlike anything human." Together, they watched the signals, trying to make sense of them. Finally, Emma found a repeating sequence that seemed like a message. She typed it slowly, reading each line aloud. "We come seeking shelter. We are being hunted. We ask for sanctuary. We bring no harm." John's eyes widened. "Shelter, sanctuary, they are refugees," Emma nodded. "It seems so, but how do we even respond?" The aliens, floating in their ships just outside Earth's orbit, were growing anxious. They had expected hesitation or hostility. Instead, a human voice answered them through the universal translator that Emma had managed to improvise. "You are welcome to our world," the voice said. "We will provide guidance and safety. Please prepare for landing instructions." Lyra and Joran exchanged shocked glances. Kale's tall form moved slowly. "Did they just say yes?" he whispered. "They did," Lyra replied. "We did not expect this." The humans sent instructions carefully, telling the aliens where to land and which areas would be safe. Emma and John coordinated with city officials, hospitals, and transport services. Volunteers prepared supplies, creating temporary habitats for the aliens. The humans did not ask for payment or favors. They simply wanted to help. As the aliens descended through the atmosphere, they felt a strange emotion, a mix of fear, hope, and disbelief. The planet was beautiful. Green forests, blue oceans, cities that sparkled like jewels. They could smell the ocean from orbit and feel the winds from the landing zones. Children ran and watched with curiosity, pointing at the unusual ships and creatures that stepped onto the planet for the first time. Kale and his envoys met Emma and John on the landing platform. The humans were nervous but friendly. Emma extended her hand, and Lyra hesitated before placing her long, slender fingers against it. It was a simple gesture, but it meant trust. "We are grateful," Kale said softly. "We did not expect such generosity." John smiled. Humans have always believed in helping those in need, he said. It is not easy, but we try. The first days were full of challenges. The aliens had never seen human buildings up close, never used human technology. They struggled with simple things like food preparation, transportation, and communication. Emma and Claire Monroe, a human social scientist, helped them adjust. Claire spoke slowly, repeating words, explaining gestures. She laughed often, encouraging the aliens to do the same. Lyra found it fascinating. Humans had customs that were confusing but kind. They shared meals even with strangers. They sang songs to celebrate small moments. They worked together to lift heavy objects or clean streets. Joran observed carefully, noting the patterns and the care humans put into their communities. "This is very different from what we know," he said to Lyra. "In our world, survival is everything. Trust is rare. Here, people give freely even to strangers." Lyra nodded. "Maybe this is why they endure. Maybe this is why they fight. They protect what they care about and they share it with those who need it." Kale walked among the aliens, watching them adapt. Some were slow, hesitant, afraid. Others were curious and bold, touching plants, tasting fruits, asking questions about animals and humans. Children among the aliens laughed for the first time in years. Their joy was simple, yet powerful. It reminded Kale of the worlds they had lost and the hope they still carried. But even as the aliens grew accustomed to life on Earth, there was a shadow hanging over them. Scouts reported that the Empire's ships were not far behind. They could strike at any moment. Kale worried constantly, pacing through the habitats at night. "They will come," he said quietly, "and we have nothing to defend ourselves, not here, not yet." Emma noticed his unease. She tried to reassure him. "You are safe here," she said. "Humans will not let them hurt you." "We may be small, but we protect what we care about." Kale did not answer. He looked at the stars above, imagining the massive fleets of the Empire, and felt a chill. He had learned not to hope too much. Yet on this planet with these humans, he allowed himself a flicker of it. Over time, the aliens began to form bonds with the humans. They shared stories of their worlds, their music, their art. Human children listened with wide eyes, asking questions about creatures that could shift color or fly without wings. Humans showed the aliens games, foods, and music. The aliens taught humans about the stars, navigation, and distant cultures. Each day built a bridge of understanding. Emma and John watched these interactions with amazement. They had known humans were capable of kindness, but they had never seen it on such a scale. The aliens were not just guests. They were becoming part of the planet, part of human life. The two species learned from each other, laughed together, and slowly, carefully, trusted each other. But the threat from the Empire was never far. Kale reminded the envoys that their time here might be short. The humans, for their part, began to quietly prepare defenses. John spoke to naval officers about potential strategies. Emma worked on communications and detection systems. They did not tell the aliens everything, fearing it might frighten them. Yet every night, Kale could sense the humans' quiet determination. "They will fight for us," Lyra said one evening, watching children from both species play together in the gardens. "Maybe," Kale replied. "Humans are strange. They are small, fragile, yet strong in ways we do not fully understand." And so life went on. The aliens adjusted to Earth, finding comfort in simple things: a warm meal, a bed, sunlight on their faces. Humans gave them homes, shared their cities, and watched over them. The first part of this story was about hope, about trust, and about two species learning that even in a universe filled with war and loss, there could be a place of safety, kindness, and home. The stars above continued to burn, distant and cold, but Earth remained a warm refuge. The aliens had arrived as fugitives, uncertain and fearful. Yet in the care of humans, they discovered something they had almost forgotten: that even in the darkest times, there could be a home worth protecting. Life on Earth settled into a quiet rhythm for the aliens, though their hearts still carried shadows of the worlds they had lost. The refugees moved carefully among humans, learning simple routines and simple rules. They learned to eat human food, though some tastes were strange to their senses. They learned to wear human clothing, though the fabrics felt foreign and tight. Slowly, they began to feel what they had not felt in years: safety. Emma Brooks and John Carter became their guides. Emma spent hours teaching the aliens how humans spoke, how they laughed, and how they showed kindness. John showed them the practical side: how to move safely in cities, how to use simple tools, and how to recognize danger. The aliens were quick learners, but curiosity sometimes got them into trouble. One afternoon, Lyra wandered into a busy marketplace, fascinated by the colors and smells. A small child tripped over her long legs, crying. Lyra bent down immediately, her large hands gentle, speaking softly in the human tongue. The child's tears stopped and laughter replaced fear. Lyra smiled quietly to herself. Humans care even for the smallest things, she said later to Joran. Yes, Joran replied. They value life, not just strength or power. The humans introduced their children to the aliens carefully. Claire Monroe helped supervise the meetings, teaching both sides to understand gestures and tone. The alien children, once shy, began to play with human children. They learned games like hide-and-seek, ball toss, and simple races. Laughter echoed through gardens, parks, and temporary housing zones. Cale observed these moments closely. He could see his people relaxing, letting go of fear just enough to enjoy the moment. For a few hours each day, the refugees forgot about the Empire hunting them. They forgot about the vast coldness of space. For a while, Earth felt like home. Yet the shadow of the Empire loomed. Alien scouts reported distant patrols moving closer to the solar system. Cale held meetings with his envoys, discussing plans in hushed tones. We cannot fight them here, he said, pacing the floor. Our ships are weak, our weapons are few. If they arrive, we will be destroyed. Joran frowned. Then what can we do? We cannot leave. We have no home left. Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. Perhaps humans will help. We do not understand them yet, but they have shown strength and care that we did not know existed. Emma, unaware of these private talks, continued to teach daily lessons. She showed the aliens how humans celebrated small achievements. A human child who had learned to ride a bicycle was cheered by friends and family. An alien who mastered speaking a simple sentence in the human language received applause. These moments built confidence and trust. We never had this, one alien said to another quietly. We never had someone who cared so simply, so openly. Meanwhile, John Carter worked with the aliens to teach them basic safety rules. They learned to recognize when a human building could protect them, where to go in emergencies, and how to signal for help. The aliens had never needed such rules in their old worlds. Survival had always depended on strength, cunning, or hiding. Here, they learned cooperation. Cale walked among the new buildings humans had prepared for them. Shelters were simple but sturdy. Fields grew vegetables for them, clean water flowed from pipes, and energy lights illuminated streets safely. The aliens marveled at human ingenuity. They build not just for themselves, Cale said to Lyra. They build for others, strangers even. They think about the future. Lyra nodded. Perhaps this is why they endure. Their strength is in more than force. It is in care. As the days passed, human cities adjusted as well. Volunteers organized lessons about alien culture for humans, so misunderstandings would be minimized. Festivals included alien music and colors. Human children were fascinated by alien abilities, while alien children copied human habits and gestures. Bonds formed quickly, surprisingly fast for two species that had never met before. The aliens began to understand the human idea of home. It was not just a place to sleep or eat. It was a place to protect, a place to care for, a place where people worked together and sacrificed for each other. Cale realized that humans did not simply provide shelter, they offered community. We thought home was walls and weapons, he said quietly to Joran one evening. Here home is warmth, trust, and choice. Joran nodded slowly. It feels strange, but it is good. We must protect this home even if it is not truly ours. Emma noticed the growing bond and smiled. She could see the aliens relaxing, laughing, and learning human ways. She also noticed the aliens' subtle fear, the knowledge that danger was coming. She tried to reassure them gently. Humans do not give up easily, she said one afternoon. We will help you. We will do what we can to keep you safe. Lyra studied her carefully. You do not fully understand what you promise, she said. We are being hunted by a force that will not stop. Are humans ready to fight? Emma hesitated. Humans fight when they must. When something or someone they care about is in danger, we do not back down. This answer impressed the aliens. In their experience, strength came from armies and weapons. Humans, they realized, were different. Humans had courage rooted in emotion, in protection, in community. It was something the aliens had rarely encountered. The first signs of trouble arrived quietly. A small fleet of enemy scouts entered the outer solar system. Sensors on Earth detected them, but no human ships engaged immediately. John Carter observed the readings carefully, preparing contingency plans. He knew humans could not afford a mistake, yet he also knew that Earth itself was not defenseless. Humans had warships hidden in deep orbit, waiting silently to protect the planet. Kale and his envoys were informed of this quietly. He was wary but curious. Humans hide weapons, he said. Why, they do not strike first? John replied. We defend what is ours. We do not attack unless forced. The aliens were surprised. Their people had always struck first or retreated. Humans acted differently. They valued life and safety, but they valued justice and loyalty even more. Kale considered this, thinking of his lost worlds. Perhaps humans were stronger than they looked. The aliens' fear did not disappear. They spent nights watching the sky, imagining the massive empire that hunted them. Lyra tried to reassure the younger aliens. She told them stories of human courage and of the small victories that humans celebrated. Children listened, wide-eyed, believing for the first time in a long while that they might survive. Meanwhile, human scientists and engineers worked tirelessly to integrate the aliens into society. Energy systems were adapted for alien technology. Transport devices were built to accommodate alien forms. Communication systems allowed aliens to speak easily with humans far away. The humans were not simply helping, they were building bridges that could last. One evening, Kale walked with Emma and John through a garden where human and alien children played together. The air was filled with laughter, light, and hope. Kale stopped and looked at the children, feeling a warmth he had not felt in years. We came to this planet seeking shelter, he said softly. We did not expect family, yet here it is. Perhaps we can survive here. Emma smiled. You will not be alone. Humans have a way of protecting what they care about. It is not perfect, but it is strong. Joran watched the stars above, thinking of the fleets that would come. Yet, even with the fear pressing at the edges of his mind, he felt hope. Earth had shown them something incredible, a place where strength was measured not just by weapons, but by heart, by care, and by courage. As days turned into weeks, the aliens adapted. They learned simple human customs, sang songs with human children, helped tend gardens, and shared stories of their own lost worlds. Humans learned from them as well, marveling at their technology, culture, and ways of thinking. Both species changed slightly, becoming more understanding, more patient, more connected. But the shadow remained. Distant scouts reported the Empire's approach. Kale reminded his people to be ready but not to panic. He had seen humans face danger calmly, with a determination rooted in belief and loyalty. Perhaps he thought this was the key to survival. Lyra stood beside him, watching human children chase alien children through the gardens. This is home, she whispered. They fight for it. They care for it. Maybe they will protect us too. Kale nodded slowly. If humans can do this, then we have a chance, a small chance, but it is better than hiding forever. And so life continued. Earth became a place of learning, sharing, and hope. The aliens discovered what humans had always known. That home was more than walls, more than food, more than safety. Home was protection, care, and community. Humans gave them not just shelter, but a place where they could begin again. Yet the universe was vast and danger was real. The Empire was still coming. But for now on Earth, two species shared laughter, music, food, and simple joys. For the first time in many cycles, the aliens allowed themselves to dream. They could survive. They could hope. They could belong. And in these simple, small ways, part 2 of their journey ended. With trust, understanding, and the quiet promise that humans, though strange, were willing to protect what mattered, even strangers from the stars' life on Earth for the aliens continued with a fragile sense of peace. Yet the shadow of the Empire was growing larger every day. Scouts in the outer solar system reported movement, distant flashes of light, and strange energy signatures. The Empire was coming closer, slowly but surely. Kale called a meeting with his envoys. We cannot pretend it is safe any longer, he said. Our time here may be short. The Empire will arrive and Earth will face a choice to give us up or to fight. Joran frowned. We cannot fight them ourselves. We are too few and weak. We have nothing to match their weapons. Lyra placed a hand on Kale's shoulder. Then we must trust the humans. They have already shown courage and strength we did not expect. Maybe they will not abandon us. The humans were already aware of the threat. John Carter monitored the incoming fleet, his face tight with concentration. He knew the Empire's ships were large, heavily armed, and relentless. They had weapons that could destroy entire cities in seconds. Yet he also knew that humans had something different. Humans fought not just with strength, but with strategy, ingenuity, and the willingness to protect those who could not protect themselves. Emma Brooks worked alongside John, coordinating communication and sensors. She explained to the aliens that humans would try to hide the full scale of their preparations until they were ready. The aliens were nervous. They had expected panic, perhaps surrender. Instead, humans acted calmly with confidence. "They are strange," Lyra whispered to Kale. "They do not seem afraid, and yet I can feel their power. It is quiet but strong." Kale nodded. "We have never seen a species like this. They do not attack first, yet they will defend everything they care about with force we cannot yet measure." Over the next days, humans began to mobilize. They called ships out of hidden orbit, assembling squadrons in patterns designed to protect Earth and the alien settlements. Engineers worked to reinforce buildings, power grids, and habitats. Volunteers dug trenches, set up emergency shelters, and organized evacuation plans. All this was done without panic, quietly and efficiently. The aliens observed, fascinated. In their experience, war meant chaos. It meant fear and desperation. Humans prepared with order and thought. They were not showing off, yet their readiness was undeniable. Kale met with John and Emma. He wanted answers. "How many ships do you have?" he asked cautiously. John smiled slightly. "Enough to protect the planet. Not because we want to fight, but because we will not let harm reach those under our care. We will defend this home even if it costs everything." The aliens were surprised. They had thought humans valued life, yes, but they had not imagined this level of commitment. Kale realized that humans were willing to risk everything for what they considered right. He felt a strange emotion, respect, admiration, and a flicker of hope. The first confrontation came quietly. Scouts from the Empire entered the edge of the solar system, testing defenses, trying to locate the alien refugees. Human warships responded with careful precision, not attacking unnecessarily, but guiding enemy ships away from populated areas. The aliens watched in awe. "They fight smart," Lyra whispered. "Not with blind strength, but with thought. Every move has purpose." "And courage," Kale added. "They risk themselves to protect others. That is unusual for any species we have encountered." The Empire's scouts withdrew, realizing that Earth was not defenseless. Kale gathered his envoys. "Perhaps humans will fight for us," he said. "Perhaps they will not abandon this place. I did not believe such strength existed in one species alone." Over the next few weeks, humans continued preparations. John Carter trained pilots, organized fleets, and simulated possible attacks. Emma worked on sensors and communication systems, teaching aliens to understand human technology as best they could. The aliens were fascinated by the machines, ships that could move faster than sound, shields that could absorb blasts, weapons that could disable entire fleets without destruction. Lyra studied the children, both human and alien, playing near the protective zones. She smiled softly. "They are fighting not just with ships," she said to Kale. "They are protecting life. That is their strength." Kale nodded. "We must remember this. If the Empire comes, we must trust humans, but we must also prepare ourselves to survive alongside them. We have skills they do not understand yet. We may need them." One day, the first full fleet of the Empire entered the solar system. The sky above Earth and the surrounding orbit filled with massive ships, dark and menacing. The aliens' sensors trembled at the size and number of the enemy. Some refugees panicked. Children hid and elders whispered prayers to forgotten gods. Kale moved calmly among them, though his mind raced. "Stay together," he instructed. "Humans have promised protection. We must trust them." Emma and John coordinated human defenses, moving ships into formation. Warships appeared in patterns designed to shield cities, habitats, and the alien settlements. Humans stayed in constant communication, their voices calm and measured. They did not panic, though the stakes were enormous. The aliens could see it now, human courage in action. These were creatures that had never faced an enemy like this before, yet they were not running. They were preparing, positioning, and protecting with precision. Kale realized that humans fought for more than survival. They fought for life, for community, for family. The first shots were fired not by humans, but by the Empire. Energy blasts streaked through space toward Earth. Human ships responded instantly, deflecting attacks, blocking pathways, and guiding enemy weapons away from populated areas. The aliens held their breath. "This is incredible," Lyra said. "They do not strike blindly. They do not waste effort. Every move has purpose." Kale felt a rising sense of hope, though fear remained. "We have never seen such courage. We may survive here after all." As the battle continued, the aliens were assigned roles by the humans. Some helped maintain communications, others monitored enemy movements, and a few learned basic defensive measures. Humans trusted them enough to involve them, even if only in small ways. The aliens felt pride and fear together. They were part of the fight, but only as helpers. The humans carried the weight of war. John Carter led a squadron that intercepted enemy ships attempting to bypass defenses. His orders were precise, and his men followed with discipline. Emma monitored sensors, providing critical information about enemy positions. The aliens watched carefully, realizing the humans were more than capable. They were extraordinary. Hours passed, and the Empire's fleet found itself slowed, blocked, and frustrated. Human strategy and preparation prevented destruction. Every move was calculated. Every defensive action protected lives, not just territory. The aliens began to understand why humans had survived for so long on their planet. "They fight with care," Lyra said softly. "Not just for themselves, but for everyone they can protect. That is their true strength." Kale nodded. "We must survive with them. They will not give up, and we cannot either." As the battle continued, the aliens worked alongside humans in small ways, helping monitor sensors, relaying communications, and preparing shelters for those in danger. Children learned to stay calm under alarms, following human instructions without fear. Older aliens discovered that humans taught discipline and courage quietly, without shouting, without fear. Days passed, and the Empire's fleet, though powerful, realized that Earth would not fall easily. Human ships moved with precision, striking only when necessary, defending without needless destruction. The aliens watched in awe, slowly understanding the quiet, steady power of humans. Finally, after many days, the Empire began to retreat. Their scouts withdrew, reporting that the planet was too well defended. Human defenses had proven effective, and the alien refugees remained safe. Cheers echoed from the human and alien settlements alike. People hugged, laughed, and cried. The aliens had never seen anything like this, a species willing to risk everything for strangers. Kale gathered his envoys. "We were wrong to doubt humans," he said. "They do not fight for glory or conquest. They fight for life, for home, for what they care about. This is strength beyond anything we have known." Lyra smiled. "And now we understand why they welcomed us. They do not give refuge lightly. They protect what they consider home, and we are part of that home now." Emma and John walked among the aliens, observing the relief. "You have seen what humans will do," Emma said quietly. "We protect those who cannot protect themselves." "It is not easy, but we never give up." Joran nodded slowly. "We have much to learn from them. Their courage is not just in weapons or ships. It is in heart, in care, and in choice. That is something even our strongest fleets cannot match." Over the next weeks, humans worked to repair minor damage, rebuild defenses, and integrate lessons from the confrontation. The aliens contributed where they could, but the humans remained the main protectors. Kale realized that this planet, these humans, were different. They were not just strong, they were extraordinary in ways he had never imagined. The aliens slowly began to feel true safety for the first time. They had arrived as fugitives, unsure if they would survive. Now, after facing the threat of the Empire together with humans, they realized that this planet could be home. They were part of something larger, something worth defending. Lyra looked out at the horizon, where the sun shone on human cities and alien habitats alike. "We have been given more than shelter," she said softly. "We have been given a home, and humans will fight to protect it." Kale nodded, feeling hope he had not dared feel before. "If we survive together, perhaps we can rebuild, perhaps we can find new strength. Humans have shown us a way we never knew existed." And so, part 3 of their journey ended, with the aliens learning the true meaning of human courage, witnessing a species that fought not for conquest but for life, and discovering that home was more than walls or safety. It was protection, community, and heart after the retreat. Of the Empire, Earth felt calm, but the aliens knew this calm could not last forever. Kale walked among the habitats, observing the refugees. Some were laughing and playing with human children. Some worked with human volunteers, learning gardening, cooking, and simple engineering. Yet fear still lingered in quiet corners. The shadow of the Empire was far, but it had not vanished. "We must remain vigilant," Kale said quietly to Lyra. "We cannot assume that this safety is permanent." Lyra nodded. "Yes, but we can also learn from humans. They prepare, they protect, and they endure." Perhaps that is enough for now. Emma Brooks and John Carter coordinated with global human authorities to strengthen defenses. They repaired minor damage from the skirmish and reinforced key points around Earth. Volunteers worked tirelessly, setting up communication networks, emergency shelters, and observation posts. The aliens helped where they could, carrying supplies, learning human methods, and observing human strategy. "They do not waste time," Lyra whispered to Kale one morning. "Everything humans do has purpose, and it protects life. Even in peace, they are ready for war." Kale smiled faintly. "We have much to learn. They are patient, careful, and strong in ways we never expected." The humans continued to integrate the aliens into daily life. Schools were adapted to include alien children. Humans and aliens shared music, food, and stories. Claire Monroe helped organize cultural exchange programs so misunderstandings would be rare. The aliens began to understand humans more deeply, their values, their habits, and their fierce loyalty to those they cared about. Joran worked with engineers to learn human technology. He marveled at their machines and systems, but also noticed something else. The human strength was not in weapons alone. It was in the will to protect, in the planning, in patience, and in cooperation. "This is why they survived for so long," Joran said to Lyra. "Not because of strength alone, but because they protect life, not just their own." Kale walked through the gardens where children of both species played. Laughter echoed in the air. Alien children, once quiet and fearful, now chased human children through flowers, rivers, and open fields. Elders of the alien community watched, smiling quietly, learning hope once more. Yet the shadow of the Empire remained. Distant patrols were detected moving through outer space, scouting the solar system again. Kale held meetings with his envoys. "They are still coming," he said. "We must be ready. Humans will fight, but we must support them in whatever way we can." Lyra nodded. "We will do what we can. We owe them our lives and perhaps more." The first sign of attack came in small ways. Scouts approaching the outer planets, strange energy readings near the asteroid belt, and signals intercepted by human sensors. John Carter coordinated fleets in anticipation. Humans did not panic, they prepared. Their ships moved into position, forming defensive lines to protect Earth, the alien habitats, and key human settlements. "Watch closely," John said to Kale and his envoys. "Humans fight not to destroy, but to protect. Every move has purpose. You will learn from this." The aliens observed as humans prepared for battle again. They were careful, precise, and disciplined. They did not strike first, but they did not wait to be destroyed either. Every maneuver was designed to protect life, minimize harm, and secure victory. "This is incredible," Lyra whispered. "Their courage is different from anything we know. They fight not just for themselves, but for everyone they care about." The battle began quietly, with scouts from the Empire attempting to bypass defenses. Human ships intercepted them, guiding them away from populated areas. Alien children watched from shelters, learning to stay calm under alarms. The humans organized quickly, evacuating vulnerable zones while maintaining control of the fight. Kale was amazed. He had never seen a species so determined to protect strangers. In all his years, he had only witnessed fear, survival, or conquest. Here, humans fought with purpose for life itself. "We must survive with them," Kale said to Joran. "Their strength is not in weapons alone, but in heart, in choice, and in care. That is why we live." As the battle continued, humans pushed the Empire back again. The aliens contributed where possible, relaying communications, helping maintain sensors, and assisting in shelters. Every small task mattered. Children of both species learned bravery, discipline, and cooperation. The aliens began to understand that protection was more than just fighting. It was planning, teaching, and caring for life. Days passed, and the Empire began to retreat once more. Their fleets were frustrated by human strategy, precision, and resilience. They had underestimated the strength of a species willing to risk everything to protect others. The aliens watched in awe, realizing that humans were not just strong, they were extraordinary. They protect not just themselves, but everyone they consider part of their home, Lyra said. And we are now part of that home. Kale looked at the horizon, where alien and human children played together, and felt something he had not felt in years: hope. The humans had fought for them, protected them, and given them a place where they could live without fear. The aliens had arrived as fugitives, uncertain if they would survive. Now they had a home. Home is more than walls or food, Kale whispered to Lyra. It is protection, trust, and care. Humans understand this in ways we never could. Emma Brooks walked beside Kale, noticing his quiet reflection. You see what humans do, she said. We do not give up. We protect what we care about. Sometimes that means risking everything. Lyra nodded. We understand now. Your protection is not just force, it is heart, courage, and loyalty. We are grateful beyond words. As the days turned into weeks, life slowly returned to normal. Humans repaired minor damages, integrated the aliens further into communities, and maintained defenses in case the Empire returned. Aliens learned more about human technology, culture, and strategy. Children of both species laughed, sang, and studied together. The refugees began to feel belonging, joy, and trust, things they had not experienced for cycles. Kale watched over the alien community with pride. They had arrived weak, fearful, and uncertain. Now they were part of something greater. Humans had not only given them shelter, they had given them life, hope, and home. We have been given more than safety, Lyra said softly to Kale one evening. We have been given a future. Humans fought for us when they did not have to. That is strength we cannot ignore. Joran nodded. We will survive because of them and with them. We will rebuild, learn, and grow, and we will protect this home just as humans did for us. Kale smiled, looking at children playing together in the fading sunlight. Home is no longer just a place to hide. It is a place to live, to care, and to protect. Humans taught us this, and now it is ours too. The Empire had been pushed away, but Kale knew they might return. Yet for the first time in cycles, he did not feel fear. He felt confidence, trust, and hope. Humans had shown that they would fight for what mattered. They had shown that home was worth defending. And now, aliens and humans together would guard it. The story closed with laughter, music, and shared meals under the sun. Alien children played with human children. Adults worked side by side. Humans and aliens shared knowledge, care, and hope. The aliens finally understood what home meant, not just shelter, not just safety, but protection, community, and heart. Emma and John watched the children, smiling quietly. They had helped the aliens survive, yes, but they had also shown them the true meaning of life on Earth. A place where courage, care, and loyalty could protect even the most fragile, even the most lost. Kale and Lyra stood together, looking out at the horizon where the sun set over human cities and alien habitats alike. We were refugees, Kale said softly, but now we are part of this world. It is our home, and we will protect it with them side by side. Lyra nodded. Humans gave us a home, they fought for it, and they will continue to protect it. Now it is ours too. And so the aliens learned what humans had always known. Home is not given lightly. It is protected, cared for, and defended with heart. Humans had given them life, safety, and a future. The Empire would come again, perhaps, but the bond between humans and aliens would endure. They would fight, protect, and survive together. In this way, Earth became more than a planet. It became a sanctuary, a home, and a place where two species learned the true meaning of trust, courage, and protection. And for the first time in many cycles, Kale allowed himself to hope that the universe, though vast and dangerous, could contain kindness, safety, and home.